Well, hello, Sonoma County. Welcome back today if you've been following along, and welcome if this is one of the first videos you've joined us on. Today I am in Petaluma, California, which is the most southern city in Sonoma County. And today we're going to talk about some neighborhoods on the west side of town, kind of the older section of town, and then some more of the rural areas as well. So stay tuned and we will show you all around these areas, tell you all about the different kinds of housing in the different neighborhoods on the west side of town and what it's going to cost you to live here. But first, I'm Julie Sullivan with Sullivan Group Real Estate, and we help people move in and out and all around Sonoma County every year. So if you're planning a move into our area, maybe you're watching this video because you're doing a little research on Petaluma or Sonoma County, we'd love to help educate you about the different areas in our county and Petaluma, if that's kind of your target area, or if you're already part of Sonoma County, reach out. We'd love to help you get a plan in place and make your next move a really smooth one. All right, I'm going to start with some basics here. Where is Petaluma? For some of you that aren't as familiar with Sonoma County or maybe even the Greater Bay Area, Petaluma is the most southern city in Sonoma County. And in relation to San Francisco, which kind of everybody knows where San Francisco is, and the Golden Gate Bridge, if you're coming from San Francisco, you come across the Golden Gate Bridge. When you get off the Golden Gate Bridge, you're on Highway 101. Highway 101 is a straight corridor up into Sonoma County and beyond. You come through Marin County, which is the county between us and San Francisco, into Sonoma County, and about an exit or two into Petaluma, and you are right where I am standing right now on the western side of Petaluma. Okay, so more specific to Petaluma. Petaluma is kind of famously known for having two sides. You have the west side and the east side. And if you talk to anybody or anybody's talking to someone else, they just meet in Petaluma, they say, oh, where do you live? And what they mean is, do you live on the west side or the east side? It's kind of a funny thing. But so the west side is kind of west of 101 and the east side of 101. Downtown Petaluma is on the west side of 101. So we are literally just a couple blocks off of the downtown area. This is very walkable to downtown. This neighborhood that we are in on the west side, just blocks off of the downtown area, is kind of one of the oldest areas in Petaluma. It is the oldest area in Petaluma. One of the oldest areas, I'm going to say, in Sonoma County and some of the Bay Area. Some of these homes were built in the late 1800s. Morgan was doing another video and had kind of a cool fact about how back in the 1800s, the Petaluma River was the main corridor to get all of the dairy. This is a big dairy area, always has milk, eggs, so chickens, cows. That's really what they've been known for. They still have their egg parade every year here. So, but that river was how they got the crops and milk and eggs out of the area, which is really kind of cool. So in this neighborhood, dating back to the 1800s, are some of the most amazing Victorians. I mean, just with the amazing Victorian-like paint jobs and all the gingerbread, all the character and charm that you would expect in those homes. I mean, these homes rival some of those famous, iconic Victorian homes in San Francisco. They are just like that. And then dotted in and around them, like where I started this video, was in front of a Craftsman style home. So in the 1800s, the Victorians were built. Then in the early 1900s, right after like World War I, a lot of GIs were coming home, and there was a lot of housing was built up in that time period because the GIs were all kind of migrating north and were in need of housing. And a lot of these little cottages and smaller bungalows sprouted up. And then into the 30s and 40s and 50s, the Craftsman homes, and some of them quite stately, were built as well. So we're going to show you around what some of these neighborhoods look like in this area. And then later on, we'll talk more about those homes specifically and what it costs to live here. And we're also going to take you out even further west. So once you get out of this downtown, kind of more of a neighborhood area where houses are right next to each other, you're back into more of a rural area where there's still a lot of farmland. You know, these the cows and horses are part of the normal landscape out there, and it's still so beautiful, and there's still a lot of active working dairies and farms that are still producing the food you eat today out in that area. Now, as we are still having a need for more housing in Sonoma County as we do continue to grow, and even just statewide, there's been such a housing shortage here in California over the past I was going to say 10 years, but it's probably upwards of like 20 years. We have been seeing more subdivisions pop up throughout our county, and Petaluma has definitely been one of the areas to see a lot of growth. So even out in that area that was only rural, as you got more west and headed out towards the coast, there are some new home subdivisions there as well, which offer another great choice for housing if that's more your vibe. Look at this beauty behind me here. We are right on what is a pretty famous street in Petaluma. It's called D Street, and it's where a lot of these old Victorians live, to say. So, like I said, we are just a few blocks from the downtown area. Downtown Petaluma, you guys, has everything. It has some of the best restaurants countywide. That is no lie. I mean, it has got amazing restaurants, super vibrant downtown. You could come out here first thing in the morning, and there are people sitting out at the little cafes having coffee and their breakfast all day long. It just hustles and bustles. And then in the evening, people come out to enjoy these magnificent restaurants. A lot of them do sit right on the river, which is really fun. There's a big movie theater district with a great movie theater complex. And then again, surrounded by more restaurants and some bars. There's live music in Petaluma. Actually, a little more nightlife in Petaluma than other parts of Sonoma County. If you've watched some of our other videos, we have kind of joked about how Sonoma County doesn't really have a big nightlife. We roll up pretty early, but actually in Petaluma, you can find some fun things to do into the later night, I mean like 10 or 11 o'clock, not 1 or 2 in the morning. But anyway, that's a Sonoma County joke. But it is super fun here in Petaluma. I don't live in Petaluma. I live a little more north in the Santa Rosa area, but we come down to the Petaluma area all the time because of the great restaurants and just the really fun walkability of their downtown. You can just park your car once and walk to and from a few different places in an evening. We really enjoy that. In addition to the restaurants and some nightlife and music and so on, there is great little shops and boutiques in their downtown area, from clothing and housewares. They have amazing antique stores in Petaluma. I remember years ago there was even a lot more than there are now, but there are still some really cool antique stores. Some of them are housed in some of the old warehouses that have been here forever. There's some art stores, bookstores, big on bookstores here in Petaluma. It's really fun. So that gives you a little better picture of what's happening downtown. Petaluma as a whole, and especially on this west side of town, has some really cool parks, some really great family-friendly parks with playgrounds and picnic areas, dog parks built within the city parks as well. And people are always just hanging out or throwing a ball around. You can grab a sandwich at any of the little shops and come over to one of the parks. So just another, you know, very Sonoma County-esque thing to do. We do everything outside here. As you can look at this beautiful weather, this is what we enjoy like 250, 60 days out of the year. So weather here in Petaluma, and even a little bit kind of, we have a lot of microclimates here in Sonoma County. So a little microclimate weather patterns here on the western side of Petaluma because we are more west towards the coast. Petaluma doesn't get the extreme heat that other parts of the county can get. It kind of, I mean, you get a 90-degree day, that's really pretty hot here in Petaluma. And you do get to enjoy the fog that fingers in from the coast in the evenings and the morning. So it cools you down at night, and then it kind of gives a little slower start in the morning before, you know, it burns back and you get a beautiful sunny day like we're having today. I mean, this is kind of a warm day today, sitting at about 85 degrees, but it's just been lovely, and there's been a little breeze all afternoon. So Petaluma has some really fantastic weather. So as we head out west, it's about, 20-minute max drive, and you're out on the coast and into the Bodega Bay area where, you know, you can enjoy really super fresh seafood, oysters, chowder. There's, you know, the beaches, and the Pacific Ocean is right there. Really another great stop for tourists that are visiting the area. And I mean, even us locals, we love to head out there, especially during a heat wave. You head out there and it's always a little bit cooler. And on your way out to the coast, you are going to pass, it's called Two Rock. It's our Coast Guard base. It is the only active military base in Sonoma County. And they are just it's an absolutely amazing base. And they protect us and provide all their services up and down our coast here in Sonoma County and beyond. They really have kind of a large area that they do cover. So we are so appreciative of all of our men and women that are part of the Coast Guard, and we thank them all the time. In fact, I'll have a little side note here. Check out our video called Home Ownership for Heroes. We actually are part of a program that offers some wonderful discounts when you're buying or selling a home if you're in one of our hero groups. And of course, all military are part of that, as well as our law enforcement, firefighters, healthcare providers, and teachers. So just a little side note, but check out that video. We're super proud of that program, and we're super proud of what we offer those folks as our way to say thank you for what they do in our communities. All right, we toured you around some of these homes and gave you a little feel of what these neighborhoods look like and feel like. Did you guys get a sense of like how these older neighborhoods, they have like the wide streets and of course the mature landscaping. I mean, these trees are just amazing, and all of the landscaping in these, in this old D section homes have just, you know, these homes have been here for like 100 years. So of course the landscaping is very mature, but all these owners are just so meticulous about keeping it so perfect that it's so fun to drive through these neighborhoods and take a look at everything. So, and then of course, as you get, like we talked about earlier, you get a little further west and things become a little more rural. You know, you're looking at more rolling hills filled with cows and horses, and the landscape is definitely different than it is in these neighborhoods here. So again, kind of a recap of the different kinds of homes. You have these old Victorians that were kind of the first homes here. And kind of a fun little story about them. When you see one of them with a big palm tree out in front, those palm trees marked the home when the home was on like hundreds of acres. Remember, these old Victorians didn't always sit in a neighborhood like this. They were like the only home, and they probably thought that owner probably owned 100, 200, 300, maybe 500 acres around the home. And there was probably other, you know, buildings and barns and maybe other smaller homes that housed some of the farm workers and so on. You all watched Yellowstone. They got the bunkhouses and stuff, right? So it was kind of the same thing. But so the big palm tree, it marked the main residence on these homesteads and these big farm properties. So kind of cool when you still also see the palm tree in front of these properties on these Victorian homes. And then, like I said, as time went on and these neighborhoods grew into the neighborhoods that we know today, some of those bungalows and cottages that were built up after World War I, and then some of the Craftsman style homes, and then other homes were added. And now you have full neighborhoods of, you know, one home next to each other. But it's so cool because not one home is the same over here. It just makes it so fun and so interesting. And if that kind of neighborhood is your thing, as opposed to more of the cookie cutter subdivisions, that were, started coming up in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and that are even being built today, this is going to give you a totally different feel. So if that's your thing, this is where you should be looking. If you like those subdivision homes and you like Petaluma, they offer that as well, and we can point you in that direction and into those neighborhoods too. So a little bit for everybody. So what does it cost to live here? Well, that's kind of a loaded question, because we are showing you so many types of homes and so many types of properties. If we're going to take into account like these homes closer to the downtown area that are like in a neighborhood as compared to like these farm and more rural properties. I mean, those rural properties, that's hard to even put a price tag on, because it just depends on what you're getting. I mean, if it's a home on a few acres, that's going to be one thing. If you're looking at a home on a bunch of acres, or maybe with like a whole horse facility with a big barn and a riding arena and things like that, that puts a whole different price tag on it. So, I mean, those properties, I would say you're not going to find a farm property under $1 million out there anymore. And it just goes up from there, depending on the size of the home, the size of the land, and what is included on that property as a whole. So there's that. Now, back into these neighborhoods, that's a little easier to kind of talk price. So if you look at some of those bungalows, some of your smaller homes, again, they have varying degrees of updates. Some have been, beautifully updated over the years, and some still have that more original feel. And I think some of those with more of the original feel, you could probably pick up for around the $700,000 mark and upwards from there. And then some of these larger Victorians or larger Craftsman style homes, they're going to be, 1, 2, 3 million plus, depending on, again, the size of the home. Some of these Victorians are 3,000-4,000 square feet, 3 stories high. So it all depends on the size of the home and the number of updates. When talking about the prices of the homes here in this area, I think something that needs to be mentioned is the median home price here in Petaluma is a little over $1 million. So it is sitting at about $1.1 million. So when you think about that, and that you can pick up one of these like smaller bungalows, if that's your deal, you're cool with a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, or 2-bedroom, 2-bath home for $700,000, that could really be quite a deal, because Petaluma does see just some little bit higher home prices as compared to Sonoma County wide. Sonoma County's medium home price overall is sitting at about $840,000 right now. So you can see Petaluma does sit a little higher. And why? Petaluma is a super desirable location. Remember, I told you it was like 40 to 45 miles from San Francisco. So it's very commutable. A lot of people come this way because it's so much more affordable than staying in San Francisco or a lot of the Bay Area. I mean, the median home price in Marin County, our county right to the south, the one between us and San Francisco, their median home price is sitting at like 1.8 to 2 million median home price. So again, even though Petaluma is sitting at like 1.1 million, you can find homes less than that. We're gonna have other videos of other neighborhoods where homes are a lot less than that. You can find a very nice family home in a wonderful family neighborhood for well under that 1.1, but then because of a lot of the country properties or these Victorians and bigger homes here, it does kind of skew the median home price here, and it is such a desirable area. All right, and look where I am. I found a palm tree. Isn't this so cool? This is one of those, or it could be, I have no guarantee, but this is what I was talking about, those big iconic palm trees that marked the main home on these huge farms back in the day. So I thought this would be a pretty fun place to come and do a little recap on that video. I hope you guys loved this tour of this amazing side of town. I mean, this is just really such a cool town, steeped in so much history, and the housing on the western side definitely reflects that. If you have any questions about the Petaluma area or anything Sonoma County, reach out. We have lived in Sonoma County for, tons and tons of years, and are pretty knowledgeable from the south end to the north end of the county. And we'd love to help you and answer any questions you have. I hope you enjoyed this video. Go ahead and like that button. We love when people like our videos, and subscribe to our channel if you want to hear more about everything Sonoma County and Sonoma County real estate, because we release new videos every week, and we'd love to have you follow along. And if you ding the bell, you'll even get notified when we release those new videos. My contact info is right here. So again, any questions, I answer the phone every time you call. It'll be me, and I would love to chat with you. Thanks for following along.